It's the start of August, somewhat, which means 3 new stocks for you to look at. We don't own any shares mentioned on the slides, and none of what we say should be taken as financial advice. So guys, we have an upcoming deep dive special premium session just for you. It will be happening on the 14th of August, and the early bird pricing has already begun, which will end on the 10th of August midnight. So quickly head over to the comment section or the description to grab yourself a seat. The 3 companies that we're going to talk about is Dufu Technologies, MST Golf, which recently listed, as well as Initial Berhad. So let's start with Dufu Technologies. For those of you who have been following me a long time, you'll know that this was one of my most successful stocks. But they've faced quite some difficulty recently. Yeah. But year to date, they're still about flat. But if you take, since 2022, I think the results are not as good. But yeah, let's go.
Yeah, so so far the numbers that is reported has been pretty choppy. I mean, if you look at previous quarters, right, it actually rallied a bit, so that shows sign of like a positive like a tonality from the management, and then now it's back down, so the management is like quite bearish on the company again. But yeah, let's have a look again. So what's interesting is that they have been paying off their loans, I think because of the interest rate as well. So that's why they're trying to clear more loans, specifically for the short-term loans. So you can see like 9 million drop to now 1.6 million. And then there's like a 1 million drop from their non-current liabilities. Yeah, then there's another trend which is talking about SSD being replacing the HDD. So you can see that it is estimated that SSD will be like 35% if you compare between the number of export of against like HDD plus SSD. So you can see that there's a more demand coming from SSD, which is quite a concern for HDD in the future.
Yep.
I also see like there's like some articles saying that we will not use HDD in 2038 and beyond.
Yeah, that's an extreme example, but certainly you could make the case that by 2028, SSD shipments will overtake HDDs. But we will see, because if, let's say, augmented reality, AI, and all that stuff comes into the mainstream, the requirements for storage is going to be a lot bigger. Because think of it, today, who are the big cloud guys, right? This is your Microsoft, Amazon, Google. Then in China, you have Alibaba and all that. Most of the capacity being used for the these storage HDDs are linked to things like social media stuff, social media companies, or your Shoppees of this world where they get tons of data, or video, right? Right now, if the requirements and the need stays there, right? It's just your YouTubes, your Amazons, your Shoppees, and all that. If it's just there, then yes, SSD will most probably overtake HDD, especially as the price drops. Over time.
Correct. And also, I think there's another emergence of a new tech, which is a superconductor.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure whether that will further impact other old school tech. And I didn't realize that HDD is a 60-year-old technology.
It's very old.
Yeah, it's a very, very old one.
It's just very cheap to produce. It's a bit like the oil and gas of
versus
oil renewable, something like that, right? It's not the best analogy. But if the requirements of usage, the population usage goes into AI, heavy amount of augmented reality, which all this requires storage of data, then you might see HDD chug along just fine.
Yes. But so now this is just the final comments. You can see that the 6 months gross profit margin for Dufu from 2023 versus 2022 is about like 22%. It actually dropped from 38%. So that's pretty a concern. And another thing is that the Q3, Q4 financial year 2023, they kind of expect it to be lower than financial year 2022. So yeah, they already hinted that this year, FY 2023 will be bad. But then they see a potential recovery in starting from 2024. So that is what they are expecting lah. And then the final comment is just SSD overtaking HDD. So there's still this kind of risk as new tech starts to emerge, and then more people start to adopt SSD and other kind of like tech that can replace HDD, yeah, definitely HDD's usage or demand will start to diminish in the future.
But guys, before we move on, if you're someone looking to level up their stock investing skills and you need a lot more guidance, we do have a one-on-one program called the Mentorship Program. If you're interested, you can apply it in the comment section or the description.
So yeah, MST Golf is
right?
the next
So
one.
this was a very hype IPO.
Yeah.
Down 24% in just 2 weeks, but as of this recording, I think it went up.
Yeah, it went up like I think another 5 cents. So 5 cents I think is around like
8%,
8%. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So usually IPOs you get stories like that. You get two types of stories. One, you get the pumps. The second one is you get the dumps, right? So
yeah,
MST I think quite safely is in the dump category right now in the past 2 weeks. And what's happening?
Yeah, so nobody knows what's happening actually for MST. There's like no news. It's all of a sudden it just went dump. But if you look at the price for today, that after the dump, right, which is the market cap will be around 8.4 million. And let's say we estimate their profit is slightly better than their financial year 2022. So FY 2022's number is around like 16 to 17 million. Let's say it's about 18. So that is about like 27 times PE for financial year 2023, which is similar to the IPO PE that they kind of like declared in their prospectus. So that's actually pretty interesting. Yeah, so you can see that right now, the money that they are generating is about 8.8 million for quarter one. However, I think a lot of analysts is expecting their quarter two to drop. I believe it's like drop like 50%. So it's going to be like 4 million in quarter two 2023. I think that's the reason why the share price dump. It's also because maybe there's a one-off expenses for the listing expenses. Right. So that's kind of like going to be expected. But let's say excluding the listing expenses, I don't think the drop is that severe lah. So that's why today morning we saw that the share price of MST start to rebound a bit because it's kind of like went oversold and went kind of like irrational. So so number one is who actually exited MST. There's about 166 million worth of shares or value actually wiped out in just a single. Actually, it's just a 1 day only. It's not even like a few weeks. So and just to recap, in our previous analysis on MST, they are the leader in the market. They also are trading about like 27 times PE, which is kind of, I believe, is what they have reported in their prospectus as well. So whether you think that MST is it worth at this current market cap about 488 million or is actually worth more, well, that's up to you to decide. But then somebody thinks not, that's why they kind of exited it out. But then yeah, now it's on a midst of recovering. Any comments on MST?
No, I think they probably listed at a price that was slightly overvalued. So I think this is just the market correcting. 27 PE for market leader, probably around fair, but I'm not an expert, so I have no stake in this. Alright guys, enjoying the video so far? If the answer is yes, remember, like, comment, subscribe. And as far as comments go, if you don't like the video, do let us know as well. We always take all sorts of feedback as long as they're constructive.
Okay, the last one, Inature.
Yes, this is a company that I've made and lost money on before.
Yeah.
Inature is a well-run company and they've been on a tear, right? I think the low of 30 over cents. This was in 2020, I believe. Yeah. 2021. And then they are up now. Recently, we can see here, they are also on a little bit of a jump.
Yes,
Call
exactly.
10%, 15%.
But yeah, if you actually read their IPO prospectus, right, I believe their they have listed at around 480 million market cap.
Yeah.
So it's actually down. Yeah, it's kind of
slightly down.
Yeah.
10% down. I think what I like about Inature as well is their dividend payer.
Yeah.
For a small company, that's not too bad.
Yes, exactly.
But yes.
Yeah, so nothing interesting on their overview of their financials. I mean, it's very flat. Flat and it's dropping also, but then at least profit is kind of like improving at the moment. But yeah, this one is just nothing interesting. And just now, as you mentioned, they are dividend payer, so they have actually increased their dividend throughout the years. So last time they paid about 1 cent, now 3 cents. We shall look at financial 2023 whether they can keep up with this 3 cents payout. And this is just a quick stats on just now what I mentioned. Their IPO P is about 16 times, market cap back then is 480.
30%.
Yes, so right now they're down to 384 million, and now the P is about like 18 times, which is more or less the same as their IPO, slightly overvalued a little bit. But what's interesting about inNature is that they are going to go for an MOU with this company called the Wisdom Investment, which is in Taiwan. Basically, they say they want to acquire some interest in Mayfair House Call. So they try to like explore a little bit in the Taiwan market. Of course, apparently Taiwan market's beauty is much more crazier than Malaysia and also in Vietnam. Yeah, I mean, they're focused more on their beauty stuff. And they also did mention that the size for this beauty and personal care market in 2023 is actually 30% higher
for
than
Taiwan.
Malaysia market. So it is something like a overseas venture for them to explore whether they can tap on that Taiwan market. Hopefully we can see them bringing in revenue contribution and profit to their business for inNature in the future. But yeah, so this is the comments. So right now, I think there will be a potential Taiwan associate. I don't think there will be a subsidiary at the moment because they just say that they want to buy some shares in that Taiwan company. And then also there's a new CEO. I didn't even realize that.
Jennifer.
Jennifer Bain.
L'Oreal at Louis Vuitton.
Yeah, so she did handle like a regional manager for these two big names. So her coming into inNature, the body shop, also something to do slightly something like L'Oreal. So hopefully she can contribute something onto the table for inNature. And then last comment is basically this company has been sleeping for very, very long time.
We know many good investor friends of ours who are invested in the company, who are very positive for the reasons given above, right? They're dividend paying. So it means that dividend paying companies helps with the patience. So you buy, at least, you're still getting 4 or 5% return every year. And you can see that there's a lot of challenges that inNature is facing. They have a certain ceiling of growth, but you also can see them trying to break through the ceiling, whether it's going to Vietnam, whether it's going to Taiwan. And if they hit it big in any of these markets, you're looking at a multi-bagger easily. But that's a big if, right?
Yeah, so that's about it for the 3 stocks in August. And this is the performance for our FIRL Pro portfolio, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, a hint, we actually wrote a report on Dufu, but it's not part of the portfolio. It is just some of our side reports that we write because it is a stock that we used to own. And so the performance so far, I believe we are up like 19% for that particular year for the Telegram portfolio, which is stocks that we actually covered for short-term catalysts. That is up like 16%. And I believe few days ago, we did initiated a particular stock and it's up like 30% on in just 3 days. And we kind of exited already. So that is just like, if you want to know what companies and how we actually discover all of these ideas, right, make sure to join FIRL Pro. It is a 1-year program and we write reports. We communicate a lot in our Telegram. That's actually where we are actually most active. We're constantly sharing ideas. 15,
20 messages every day at a minimum.
Yes, exactly. Because there's a bunch of interesting stuff happening in the market as well. And if you're not convinced, we actually have a free sample for you to check it out. The links to this FIRL free sample, it is in the description and comments. And that's about it for today's video. Make sure to subscribe and like for more, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye-bye.